Hi everybody, Mature Simmer here. So welcome to round 3 of off-season event number 1 here after season 10 of TGC Tours. Obviously off-season, so not competing for a tour card, but getting some hacks in TGC Tours or just practicing for TGC Tours. And since I can get in here and play these, why not? We'll use them as rounds as opposed to doing everything just in the single player version of the game. We'll see how we're doing. So one of the things I was trying in the off season is there was a suggestion by a longtime commenter, hey, are you using a wired controller? I had explored that whole wired wireless thing back in, earlier on in my journey here. I explained a good amount of it in round 1 and round 2, so I'm not going to rehash that here. If you're really curious and haven't seen those, at least go listen to the beginning. Obviously, I'd appreciate it if you'd watch the whole round, but at least the beginning will explain to you what I had learned, especially if you go to round 1. That'll go kind of through my journey and what I did and the research I did and so forth. I am back to the wireless controller, which I'm going to use for round 3 and 4. Round 1 and 2 were with the wired controller, but that way we have 2 rounds on each controller type on the same course, and maybe will allow me to have enough data to decide what I'm doing, aside from just the physical feel. The other controller is bigger, it's heavier, it's just got a lot of negatives physically compared to the official OEM Xbox controller that I'm using again. So let's see what round 3 looks like. Alright, black tees. I assume we're going to stay on black tees the whole way. It's not going to shorten us up. Medium wind, which is the same as round 2, and then very firm and firm. Green speed was default, which stays at medium fast.
Hey there, friend. My name is John McCarthy, and I want to welcome you to Pga 2K23.
Alright, well the medium last time was 5 to 7 miles an hour, so this is a heck of a medium. Let me tell you that. Alright, so the big difference right there, you can see how close my slow is. If you watched round 1 and 2, that's an absolute difference that I see between the controller types. And to some degree the argument is there's more polling done with the OEM controller, and so therefore you get a lot more output points. There's a dispute potentially about that. I'm not, I don't know. I can't argue about it. I can just share what I'm seeing and the results I'm seeing. And so I would end up on that line. So if you look at that timing where the light gray goes to the dark gray on the timing arc, pretty much 80% for sure, probably 90% of my swings were right there with the wired controller. That is not the case with the wireless. I get much more variety. We'll verify that in these next 2 rounds, but that's been part of the difference, I think, as well. And I'm also getting, again, a much smoother swing path. Now, yes, I do get more very slows, very fasts, but that would go along with, again, more polling, because it's going to be more difficult to some degree in that regard, where there's going to be more opportunity for it to be in a range that is like that. But yeah, I feel there's an obvious difference already, just 3 strokes in. I've had 3 pretty decent swing paths. The heavier spring on the other controller and so forth, I think just really impacts things. It's enough power, but the brake was, I knew it was heavy, but now
be nice to get this one. This one's for bogey.
Like this pin position is just evil. I mean, if you look at it, it's literally at the crest. It's literally at the crest of the hill. So yes, I got a bogey, but
don't worry about that. We have a lot lots more golf to
I'd
play.
say that was a
Let's
much
just
harder
concentrate on this
lie and or pin placement than the other 2 rounds, and also I had a very slow swing on one swing, so I basically also created a problem with that. Again, pretty good. Slows almost right on, and so what that also changes is I don't move
like you're a bit
as
off on that
much
approach. And second shot here
from the
on
target
second hole.
zone as I did with the wired controller either. Now there's a little bit of again, getting the feel back. It was downhill, so I knew that was going to be tough.
This one's your third.
God. Alright. Decent, but again, it's going to be another bogey.
That one goes down, and that's for a bogey. And back-to-back bogeys. Here's a par 5. Let's see what you can do.
So the challenge of where it's not apples for apples is, again, I'm not, I mean, I'd have to like play the same 2 rounds over to at least take the course layout out of it. But again, I think we're all intelligent enough, those that are helping me look at this, and my, me looking at it myself, that we can still see the swing, what the swings look like, regardless of what the final score looks like. Again, a shot not remotely possible with the other controller. Again, we can, one can argue why. And again, I played with a wired controller for a long time. So it's really doesn't, I don't feel it has anything to do with, oh, you just, if you played 3-4 dozen rounds with it, you'd be right there. I'm not sure that's true. And I don't want to mess up what I have here, because again, I was already worried. I mean, I played 3 full rounds, so 36 holes, or I'm sorry, 54 holes, where I was like, I'm gonna screw up my swing with my controller that I have been using. I'm not willing to lose that, but obviously I came right back and have had no issue with it, so I don't want to press my luck, I don't think, but we'll see how everything continues to play out here. Again, I get,
and unfortunately might be in the rough.
There's, just stay in the rough, but out of the water, because there was a little pond over there.
Extra from here. This is really deep.
It is, wow. This might be alright, especially with the height difference. Slow didn't help.
Okay,
but the power, the swing path, that was all really, really well done. Okay, a little lighter, because I want to be a little lighter, because I knew I don't want it to land near the hole. I wanted it to roll, so I got what I wanted.
Good job.
Alright, it almost didn't break, but it did.
Wind's blowing from our backs on this one.
Alright, we're going to leave. It's a driver, though. God. Yeah, I'm going to leave it. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Again, as close to the water as I am with that, I was like, oh my God. There's just no opportunity for error, but man, if that had hit the pin, that would have been incredible. But that was a solid shot.
You have a very long putt ahead of you here.
We do. A heck of a break. It's downhill and uphill, so I think I'll just assume it's level. Might be a little light. No, it was not bad.
This one's 6 feet away.
Okay, we're going to go outside the hole a bit. Oof.
Oh, yep, that'll
It
do.
almost
For the
pulled.
bird.
It almost pulled away from me.
And let's see what we can do here on the 5th hole.
All right, wind with me. That's always a welcome thing. Especially if I can capitalize on it and not botch my tee shot. So, very proud of that result.
This is about 105 yards-ish to the pin.
All right, with the wind, we're just sticking with it as it sits. Nice, nice, nice. And again,
right on the approach here.
A lot better on the swing timing
Right.
with this controller. I think we can put that to bed
our 3rd shot.
as a difference between the two. So it's a victory for the wireless controller over the wired. I'm always willing to hear what people see that's different than that, but I think that's pretty darn undisputed. Shoot.
Well, nothing you can do about it now. Let's pop the bogey, putt in, and move on.
All right.
That wind's blowing right into our face on this one.
It is, but it's downhill. And again, didn't quite get a perfect, but that's damn near on the perfect.
Yep, that's gonna do just nicely.
Happy to, if you haven't seen round 1 and 2, go look. Give me your feedback. But all these swings, up until just much more control with this controller.
Honestly, that was a good putt.
It was a good putt. I was off anyway. It wouldn't have gone in, but...
Teeing off now on the 7th.
All right, again, back with me.
Nicely done. Okay, setting up about 180 yards out.
All right, I'm just gonna stick with this.
Not sure where this one's gonna end up.
Should be over the hill. It is, just sadly not on the green.
This is what our 3rd shot's looking like.
But that's all right. Very fast.
Ooh, nice little chip on that one.
Take that one.
And teeing off now in a long par 4.
And again, that's what I need. The par 5s need to be birdie holes. Now this could be bad because I may not carry. No, I carried the bunker. All right. I was worried I wouldn't carry it. Oh, I didn't. Didn't end up on the rough. I ended up in the rough each time, too. But and it was more because I was hitting straight at the rough. Is how it went off the tee. So again, just a very different shot result. All right, it's uphill and into the wind. Oh no, oh no, oh no. All right. We are not wet at least. Oof, that was ugly. All right, we're gonna go up 1 here. The slow did not help. So struggling a bit with this hole. Huh, another very slow. Odd. That felt right, but obviously the inputs, not so much. It's going to break more than that. Who am I kidding? And again, you can see this, even the swing path on the putts. Oof,
Oh, that's not going to be good.
Maybe a little harder might have gotten me in
safely home
there,
with that
but
putt. Here we go. Par 4 ahead of you.
all right, that one hurt. And that hurts more.
Going towards the beach.
Yeesh.
Let's get out of this. This is a little spinachy for my liking.
All right, just getting out.
Not confident in this one. I think it's in the rough.
This is again something I need to break myself of. All right, decent third swing, but
get out of there.
2 bad swings don't help.
That's wonderful. Back in the fairway. And this is your 4th shot.
All right, I'm gonna pull it. No, I'm gonna do my normal when I have this when I'm this close. I'm gonna do that. And sometimes that happens.
And setting up now for your 5th shot.
So yes, it is a bit of a trade-off in that by having the better control, you know, whether for whatever reason, the more
feet from the cup.
more options for it to land on.
Oh, it's getting there.
I have more opportunity for the poor swings as well. But I think
good luck. Par 3.
Having the ability to have solid tee shots and other shots far outweighs the periodic times that I'm off, and it focuses things more on that gameplay piece of like, yeah, it's just hard at master difficulty level, and I just have to swing more consistently, and then I won't get a very fast or a very slow. Because again, I wasn't getting, you know, I mean, I got some of these off the tee, but they were also like way over when I did that. All right. See, if I go to 55, it's not going to quite be enough. So this is going to take me down, say, 13. That would be 54. That's too much, though. But this just doesn't seem enough.
You lost it in the canopy?
All right. I knew it would be close, but...
Okay, for the save.
And again, I get I may be off on my math with some of that, because I know there's been comments, again, well-deserved, that, hey, I don't understand why you're surprised. Like, that's exactly what it should have done type of thing. But it was 55, I was down 82. I mean, so yes, I guess that wouldn't quite be 10. Where, you know, again, it was looking like more than 80% before I flipped to the flop shot. So I suppose, you know, that was it. Alright. Go over this way. See, I'm way more confident with this controller, too, that this will turn out well. I mean, if I execute, obviously. But, like, it was heading in the right direction, because the swing path was good. I'm going to stick with it. Even though I know it's uphill, but, again, with the roll, just stay up, don't.
Well, you missed the approach.
So this is where people are like, silly greens, but again, we're all playing the same greens, so. Alright, I'll take that.
9 feet away.
Because that's what I wanted, a lighter hit.
Looking good.
Where a full swing would have overdone it, and I would have been at least that far on the other side of the hole.
Hole number 12 coming at you.
Wow. And look at this screen. It's hideous. This is like the world's most intimidating pin placement. Because even if I get a good shot, not a great swing path.
This one's
So
a little to the right on approach.
it might stop because of the hill.
Okay, no worries. We'll be on the green soon enough.
All right. I'm debating chipping versus putting, but we're going to chip. All right, not bad. Not a bad attempt.
Nice. All right, let's tap her
But again, with the way the pin lies and stuff, it's just so difficult to get in.
Here we go now on the 13th.
All right. So again, like, see how close that dot is to the top? That wasn't really happening at all, and so I think being able to do that compensate, like, this is better, even though I expose myself to more very fasts and very slows because of that sensitivity. If that explanation makes sense. But that's kind of what I'm thinking of. What do we do? Because again, like that, close to the top, wasn't happening on with the other controller.
And here we go. This one for birdie.
Man, straight on.
This putt's going.
All right.
Nicely played.
So that's my third birdie. I think I got 2 birdies per round with the other controller. Again,
this one, the wind is
hard to say that that's
right.
controller specific, because again, you've got different wind, different pins, this and that. I was looking at it, thinking a lot. It works out because I end up in the fairway.
Hole number 14.
Man, this is way uphill. Holy Christmas. Beautiful. Little bit of... Would have preferred it not land on the rough, because that will take off some distance on me, but... Alright, so in theory, 8 yards. If I put it up to a regular swing, that'd be 97. That would put me down to 89. But then I'm almost always hitting too hard. So this is, in essence, the same, with a bit of distance drop. So this seems to be the right call. Not that, though. Don't go down the hill.
Well,
thank you.
Bad. I'm sure you weren't planning on that.
No, I was not, but that's all right. All right, come back toward the hole. There we go.
This putt's about 4 feet.
It's downhill, so I got to be really careful that I don't go nuts and hop the hole.
Okay, good job on this one.
I don't usually do that lately, but
this one is a par 3.
But it can happen. It can certainly happen. I may be... Well, nope. I don't want to do a pitch. That would hurt. Glad I saw that right at the last moment. Okay. That's too short, so we're going to stick with that.
Super solid contact.
It was not.
Well, you're not going to hit every green today. That's all right.
All right. So again, we're going to be down 10-ish. 10-ish. Wow, that's just too much. But the other one's not enough. Alright, well, I tried to do a partial, but the very fast did it for me, I guess.
This one to save par.
Because the partial didn't work, but it still, like, took power away from me, which is what I needed.
No, that's going right by the hole.
It looked like it was going to break a lot, and that's why I'm like...
Come back to us, come back! Alright, this is your fourth shot.
These are just really tricky pin placements.
Ouch, right
There's
by the hole.
nothing to it. I mean, these greens are
the double bogey.
contoured like crazy, and so that was much more pin placement than it was certainly. It wasn't a controller problem. So let's not fool ourselves there. Bounce out, which it should. I mean, almost the same position.
30 yards to go here.
So you could say that's a wash between the two controllers. Oh my goodness. Alright, I'm gonna try that. Well, I got a perfect, which I never did other than on chips off the other controller.
That'll do for the approach. 24 feet from the cup.
Okay, pretty much straight on. Maybe?
Yes, that putt was amazing.
Alright, that's my fourth bird. Again, that absolutely I would put to controllers, because I was all over the place on the putt path with the way the springiness on that thing worked. It was just so much more challenging, and I was fighting it way more than I understood earlier when I was using the wired controller, but now I understand that very, very clearly. Because I'm like, good enough, and again, perfect tee shot did not happen in 3 rounds with the other controller.
And here's our second shot.
God, that was just crap luck, hitting in the divot and then getting driven. Otherwise, that was a beautiful shot. Hitting it a little harder because of the rough. Come on.
Setting up a 5-foot putt here.
That should not have pulled away like that from the hole.
This putt's good so far.
That is just frustrating.
Oh, yeah, that'll work nicely. 2 birdies in a row for you.
God. Talk about making a shot difficult that doesn't need to be.
All right, hole number 18, ready to go.
So again, that is just, you know, an interesting course design type thing. I mean, where, and I do wonder sometimes, like, I don't know that it's intentional. Like, people may just be like, yeah, this looks like a good place to play the pin, put the pin, but then I wonder if they play the hole. Like, if they actually play the course, you know, and I'm sure some designers do. But, you know, I think that would be something you could realize. Like, yeah, it looked better from above when I placed the pin. But down on the green, you see, like, okay, the hole's in such a place that you get these odd rolls. You know, you might move it a little bit to make it a little bit more reasonable. Okay, 2 perfects in a row. Happens once in a while. It's still pretty rare. But again, the pressure of hitting over that sand expanse, you know, that's a big one. So I got to stay off the beach. So I'm going to overcompensate for sure. So I get that I went too far to the right, but I'd rather error there than error over to the left and have a disaster.
All right, we'll take that.
Because again, I wasn't going to make the green anyway. too far. I forgot about the crazy greens. I should have known.
Okay, here's your putt for
As
birdie.
soon as it landed, you knew it was going to go do something stupid. Maybe.
Okay, the
All
putt
right.
drops, and that's it.
3 birds in a row to end it. Puts me at a +4.
And that's
So
gonna
even
do
with
it for
all
us
the
here today.
difficulty
Thank you
and the pin
so much
placements,
for the round of golf.
pretty solid
you did.
round. It would take a lot at this point to get me to say the wired controller is my better option. It may be for some people. I'm not going to dispute that some people may be doing, having situations, but and again, so I'm going to make the comments, and then people can comment back to me, because again, I've got folks like JDK and others who are watching these a little closer now that we're in the off season, and they've got some time to again offer some input. I think the pin placements were significantly more challenging in this round than they were in the other two. So I think you'd have to take that into effect, because I think if I had this controller in the other rounds, those scores would have been better as well. I can almost for certain say I missed at least 4 putts across those 2 rounds because of what the controller was doing to my putt path. And again, it's just me interacting with the controller. I get that. I'm not like writing it off like, ooh, the controller was sending garbage. No. But when it's a tighter stick and so forth, it impacts my ability to maintain a straight path a lot more, because it's pulling at me all the time. So there would have been improved scores there, which again is another vote for, stick with the wireless controller. But as I said, the biggest impact, while I get the con side of it, is I did have more very fast, very slows in this round than I did with the wired controller. So I get, it seems to dampen those, but that comes at the expense of having virtually no shot at getting a perfect tee shot, a pretty good straight swing path for the same reason, because of the springiness in the stick and so forth. So again, you could make the argument, sure, I could, try different wired controllers and try to find one that has similar spring dynamics, and somehow that might help. But I don't know that it will, and I just don't know that it's worth it. So, because part of it, I'm not sure what was drawing the comment. It was just a comment of, are you using, Bluetooth or 2.4 or whatever 2.4 is, that I'm less familiar with. And again, maybe it's USB 2.4 or something. That was kind of the question of, am I using a wireless or not? But I don't know, or is a 2.4 gigahertz like literally Wi-Fi signal? That's probably what it is now that I just said it. So, but no, it's it's Bluetooth, as I shared in the response, and so I think I've made the case. The case has been pretty thoroughly proven, just even with one round, that I just need to keep pounding away with the wireless, and that's my better option. I think I'm physically handicapping myself by going to a wired controller, because it's just not comfortable. It's much more difficult, and again, it was all I knew at that point when I started with it, so it was like, yeah, this is the controller, like, this is what I need to do. But then on the urging of video folks that were like, no, here's why I use a wireless controller and why it's better and this, that, and whatever, I went ahead and used that, and have been working with that for quite some time, and I think I've honed in enough that it should work. So my vote is basically stick with the wireless controller. I'm more than willing to listen why the wired or what you're seeing that I'm missing, because that input has been very helpful as I try to dial these things in. But I'd say getting a +4, given the pin positions and the fact that we had, again, wins in the 10s versus the 5s, so contending with that, whatever, and then ultimately getting a better score, even though it was significantly more challenging circumstances. I think all of that kind of speaks for itself. You know, I might be sitting at a, you know, closer to say a +5, +8 for the event right now. You know, I'm not going to say, oh gee, I would have wiped out that +5 and the +8 if I had done them all with the wireless controller. You know, and some of it becomes a consistency thing too. But even with all the, because the other piece that I think into it, I mean, this whole testing, this whole doing this, I'm certainly not like super chill, super mellow as I'm playing. I've got those nerves, I've got that tension, that stress that many times I would be fighting against, and with that I still produced the round I did. And some of that was, again, like, I could tell within the first 3 or 4 swings, like, oh my god, this just feels so much better, and I just wasn't good enough. You know, it's kind of like any pursuit, like, you just don't know if you're not decent at it, how to feel things, or how it feels off or whatever. Now that I've played another, you know, several hundreds more holes after the wired controller, like, I can clearly see the difference and feel the difference between the two controllers. So anyway, that's my input. Where, you know, I'm going to play the 4th round with the wireless as well. We'll obviously see how that all plays out, but once again, we do have the variability. But as I said, taking that variability into account, I think I should have done much worse, all the other things being equal, and I did better. And so to me, I think that shows what the impact of the controller could be. And I think it honestly is, there's just way more spraying of the tee and approach shots, even though I'm still in the light gray, because I can never get it close to the white with the wired controller. And that was honestly what I was seeing all the time when I was using the wired controller, and what led me down what some said was that rabbit hole of the controller's just not letting me, it's doing something, like, it's, you know, I see what other people are doing and I can't achieve that, and I'm like, I know I'm not that bad. And so I do think the reality exists, at least in my gameplay style. If we want to still argue it can't be the hardware, it's got to be you, fine, then it's how I interact with the hardware. But all I can do is present how I play one way or the other. And so you've got 2 rounds with the wired, and right now 1 round with the wireless, and I would say this wireless round was head and shoulders above the 2 wired rounds. So happy to hear the comments. I'll likely have played many rounds after that before you see this on the channel. So again, as with anything, if the feedback comes in, do this, that, or whatever, sometimes it's going to take, you know, 4, 5, 10 rounds before it might come to fruition. But, you know, you'll see me let you know that in the comments or something when it comes up. Like, hey, I'm already a week ahead in published items. You're not going to see anything. But anyway, I felt pretty good about this round, all in all. I mean, I think I ended up with, what, 6, 7 birdies? You know, it's just a matter of doing significantly better on avoiding the bogeys, and I think I'll get myself where I need to be. But with that, as always, if you've not dropped a like and not been a subscriber yet, please consider those things, and I will see you next time.